Hey guys, Brent Hull doing a Wednesday design video, and I want to share something that happened when I went to Europe, went to the Ireland trip, and that was so cool about looking at buildings built during the classical era that would have been where the classical proportions were very important. So one of the rooms that we hung out in at Glen Castle, okay, was basically organized like this, and there was a column here, there's a column there, column there, column there, there's a door. Okay, and there's a window, another door, there's a door here, fireplace, door, okay? Now, what was happening is that the organization of this room was put together so that there's clear accesses, okay? Clear lines of organization. So you see that, you know, there's one here. This was the main door, right? And it of course lines up with that fireplace. This window lines up with that door. This window lines up with that door. This door lines up with this door, but this is actually a false door. It's actually a china cabinet. And there is a false door on this back side. But as I kept looking at the room, there was this beautiful plaster design here, okay? And as I looked closer at it, I kept going, gosh, why did they put the room together this way? Why did they figure it out? And so basically what I realized was that these columns are probably more right in this line, but this created this square. There was a square in this opening right here, okay? And if you know about making the golden rectangle, the way you do it is that, you know, if you have a square, you take the center line of that square and you take that radius and then drop it down, and that's what creates your other golden rectangle, okay? So if you did that here, drop this line down, of course, this room lays out so that, you know, this room was a golden rectangle, okay? Now that golden rectangle corresponds with the Fibonacci sequence. The golden rectangle is a rectangle that is defined by an irrational number that kind of goes on to infinity. An irrational number is the number you can't define, right? It's a number that has no end. The computers do it, and it just keeps going, da, 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 da. So the Fibonacci sequence is here. 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 5 plus 8, 13, right? All the way up to 233. If I divide 3 into 5, I get 1.666. It doesn't equal that number. But the farther I get up into this sequence, when I divide 233 by 144, I do end up with that 1.618. And so this relationship of this golden rectangle is related to this overall rectangle. And I think I showed you in one of my other videos that as this thing grows, that if I continue to do these squares, that if I take the outside edge of that thing, then I end up with this nautilus shell, okay? And that nautilus shell communicates that, you know, that perfect proportion that was found in nature and everything else. Now, what happened is I continued to do this, I continued to look around for this golden rectangle, this design in other stuff. And so we went to this Georgian house, and I took the picture of the outside because I was like, uh-oh, that looks familiar. That looks like something that I'd recognize. And so if you take this top square, right, and I just go, and I do it this other side, and this picture is a little skewed because, you know, I'm looking up at an angle, so it's a little bit funny, so it's not going to work out perfect. But there's a circle right in here, okay? So there's that circle square thing going on, and when I divide this line, come through here, and then run that radius down, you know, I end up seeing another golden rectangle here, right? And so it's fun when you see all these things coming together because you're looking into the past and you're getting clues for the things they were inspired by, the things that they were looking at. Once you have this golden perfect proportion, you're wanting to use it in all these different places. Like this window is a golden ratio as we worked it out. Even these little window panes right here, and you'll know that when I talk about windows, I often talk about how if there's a divide light window, we end up with rectangles that run horizontally. That isn't typically how they were done. You would oftentimes have a divided light window so that you can have these vertical rectangles, and that's what you see happening in all these windows. There's no squares in these windows. They're all oriented vertically. And then if we dig down even farther and look at this doorway, okay, it was very popular in this day to organize doors, okay? And so, well, how did they put this together? What did they do? Well, I had my little compass here, and if I take, let's see, one circle, right? I'm gonna find the middle point of that circle, and I'm gonna go right here, there, and then I'll do it one more time. And basically what you're seeing is that there's a circle here, right? There's a circle here, another circle here, okay? And then this circle here makes that last piece, okay? So the proportions of all these things are all kind of put together in a way. And what this means is that the two circles means that there's a 2-to-1 relationship in this doorway, which was very important back then. If I pulled that picture off the wall, which is a plate from Betty Langley, you see door openings with this exact circle ratio in here, right? So that 2-to-1 relationship was very important. So, you know, and then, well, how did they determine the size and the top of that? Well, they kept that same proportion, and that then allowed them to put this other thing together. And I suspect that if I drew this out and did the square and did, you know, the circle in here and did this around, it'd be really close to another golden rectangle, right? So they're everywhere. And so the fun thing about going to Europe, the fun thing about seeing these things is that you begin to find these proportions. I remember looking at the doorway, and I measured the doorway at 36 inches. And I said, well, if this is by that classical order of 1 to 6, 1 to 7, this should be about a 6-inch casing. Sure enough, it was 6 1/4. So, you know, those proportions really were followed. Those pattern books that I'm doing my book on really were something they looked at. And so studying these buildings and seeing how all these things come together, it's a lot of fun realizing how they put things together. And it gives us clues for opportunities for us today of things that we can design, things that we can put together, and using that golden ratio to help organize things. And really what you're seeing, and the reason why we stand in front of these buildings and we love them, is because they've been organized. There are regulating lines, that's what these things are called, that organize and pull this thing together and help our eyes make sense of it. And we go, I don't know why I like it, but I like it. Oh, they've actually organized it and put it together geometrically, and we see that unconsciously. It's not like we go, oh, you know, we see it and we just go, it's organized, it's put together in a way, and it's beautiful. And because it's beautiful, we're naturally attracted to it. Because it's based on a system that's based on the human scale, we naturally love it. So great stuff when you go to Europe and you look at these buildings and you go, I don't know why I like it. Most likely it's put together that way. And these are the clues. This is the reason I want people to travel, is because you get inspired when you look at things and realize how they're organized and go, well, why don't we do that today? We should be, and hopefully these kind of things will help us on that way.